Okay, welcome everyone in this kind of weird setting. Most of it online, a small audience here in the Trappenzaal in Vertigo. But anyway, welcome to this announcement ceremony of the nominees for Archiprix 2020. First of all, I'd like to thank the entire team of CASA, Nina, Koen and Sergio, for organizing the exhibition and making sure that all of the plans are presented in such a way as they are now, as one coherent whole. Very thankful for that. And also I heard already that people from the workshop in Vertigo, they collaborated on it a lot, so thanks to them as well. This year we have quite an interesting jury going on. I kind of teased them here a bit. So we have a whole new jury judging all of the plans, and I'd like to introduce them to you right now. First, there's Christina Nam. Christina, she just joined the chair of Architectural Design and Engineering at our university just this summer. So she's very new to our faculty. She previously worked at the University of Edinburgh with a PhD on architectural robotics, and with that a strong focus on basically on digital fabrication. The second jury member is Fulco Treffers. Fulco also graduated here at the university, I think in 2001. He's currently the owner and founder of a firm called 12N Urban Matters, which is located in both Amsterdam and Eindhoven. And as an urban designer, he works mainly for municipalities, but also for housing corporations. And his work focuses on getting users and inhabitants involved in the urban design process. A part of what he does is also taking place in Ukraine, where he teaches at a university and is setting up sort of new modes of education there, also in collaboration with the Netherlands. Then our final jury member, final one of the three, is Wouter Hilhorst. Most of you know him as a teacher at our faculty, so the chair of rational architecture. He has a really strong focus on the making of architecture. Besides that, he's also a very skilled craftsman. Just this morning, he showed me on via Teams a project that he's working on right now, like a huge string instrument that he's building from his own workshop. So, and then finally, me, I'm Jan Schevers, and I'm the jury chairman, so I don't have a say in anything, I just write down what the jury decides and let you know about it. So, what I'd like to do now is to first give you a view of all of the nominated or pre-selected graduation projects. I'm going to do that in the order of which the exhibition was thought of. So we're going to start at the entrance of the exhibition with Nick van Garder's Beyond the River. The jury, they found this project to have a very strong theoretical basis, with a clear link between that research and the analysis and the design. Linking all the different scales of urban research and design together is admirable and even quite radical in its approach. The jury found the plan to be a little abstract though, with a tendency to be even hermetic. Linking the grand and abstract themes of this project to the very real people living in the city would be a very interesting and perhaps even necessary next step. Even the presentation seems devoid of any people. Still, it's this presentation that the jury found very convincing. It does a great job in showing the complexity of the plan. It's very consistent and enormously outspoken. Michael George, here present today. Welcome. At first, the jury had some difficulty understanding your plan called Cyberpark. Understanding exactly what the plan is about. The presentation style made it quite hard to get an immediate idea of the topic that this proposal addresses. But after careful consideration of the panels and examining the book, they did find a very interesting problem definition and a thought-provoking radical conceptual approach. Although the actual solution in terms of the architectural plan seems to remain on this conceptual level for the most part, it also has some elements with great potential, like the roof, landscape, and the way the plan links to the water in terms of program and the form. Martijn Hottenhuis then, with his plan densifying Dutch cities. A tool for evidence-based master plan design is very ambitious and seems actually equally relevant. The purely scientific approach, as far as it comes across from the posters, is very convincing. The absence, though, of the book and the overall visual complexity of the posters unfortunately make it quite hard for the jury to discover the true depth that this plan undoubtedly has. This makes it almost impossible to do justice to the huge undertaking this concise graduation project took on. Georgia Castelli, with the project A Core for Diversity. A plan with great social and spatial qualities in both an urban as well as an architectural level. Even landscape design is taken into account, although the jury misses the trees in the plan somehow. Don't know where they went. Nonetheless, there is a great appreciation for the way this plan seems to connect multiple scales almost effortlessly, from the global to the urban level, connecting it to the specific context. The spirit of the plan, with its interweaving functions, is brought to life in the scale model and is very balanced and beautiful, and in its very balanced and beautiful presentation. This plan raised a lot of discussions within the jury. Is it naive to think architecture can solve big problems like this? Or is that just what the architectural discourse of today needs? Do we need optimism or a more critical approach? Definitely not your everyday modernist master plan. Let me go to Xinju Kiao, Plan Egg. Unfortunately, this plan was not presented at the exhibition of Plaza. That made it impossible for the jury to assess the project, and we therefore had to eliminate it from the judging round. This is too bad because the digital images and the short description we were sent, they actually did look very promising. So we unfortunately had to skip this plan from the judging round. Ruben van Dijk, plan Familiar Living. The values this plan addresses to come up with a solution for loneliness in an aging society are chosen very well. It's great to see how these values can be transferred to spatial concepts. A theoretical, or better yet, practical evidence, for instance with interviews or target groups, whether this approach could indeed work, would have been a welcome addition to the project. That would make it even more relevant as a possible answer to one of the most pressing questions of today and maybe tomorrow. There's much appreciation from the jury for the clarity and and the consistency of the presentation with a clever use of the video incorporated in. Then the plan Cosada by Simon Machada. A coherent, consistent and elaborate project. Very serious, complete and precise in the way the architecture of the complex itself is designed. The relation of the plan with its context seems to be of lesser importance though. Living together with the rest of the city seems a bit less of a priority than living together within that community. The result though is a very nice and friendly atmosphere within a carefully articulated plan, where everything is designed through and through. There's great appreciation for the detailed architectural floor plans in relation to the program. Germa Janssen, Guides to Deceleration, also here today. A very ambitious plan, both in its scale as well as in its purpose to unconsciously influence people to decelerate their lives. The thorough research on the topic shows a very serious approach on a theoretical and an analytical level. It's quite hard for the jury to connect that to the intangible, intuitive, and almost dreamy aspects of this beautiful architectural plan. The presentation is very friendly and modest, with some very nice graphical elements as well. Marco Cironi, A House of Rituals. Although the overall impression of the graphic presentation is quite Japanese, so to say, the plan shows a very personal approach with a great feel for aesthetics. Some jury members were touched by this personal quest for what the power of architecture can be. But would suicidal people really go there? Sometimes it feels like they are buried there already. At other times, it feels like a luxury resort. More than with the realism of this plan, the jury is impressed by the exercise in making spaces, showing a clear love of pure spatial arrangements. But this topic could have easily been a kind of superficial plan. Instead, this design forms a very serious attempt to tune architecture to the most fundamental experiences of life and of that life coming to an end. Patrick Limpens, designing for the city regions of Antwerp. An impressive amount of studies and big data visualized in an intriguing way. The analysis seems very thorough, and both the ambition and completeness of this plan is amazing. The resulting design might have benefited from a more open approach, thinking more in strategies than in a finished master plan. The presentation, though, clearly shows the author is very much in control of everything. Very careful, very concise. A huge amount of data combined with the restrained and unified graphic style make it quite hard to discover the true essence of the plan as a proposal on a human scale. Then Leon Valerio Neufert, with this project called Vernacular, or Lycosa. Beautiful. This is the word that the jury used a lot while discussing this plan. Beauty in the way that it's presented, in terms of spatial quality and material use. The relevance of this project for society or for today's architectural discourse, it's a bit less clear though. It all mainly seems to originate from a very personal fascination. A fascination that starts with the work of Alberto Ponis and with the surrounding landscape. The way this design responds to both of these aspects shows great control. Tiziano Spadoni, The Temple of Tolerance. I'm going to take a little bit of water. An intriguing topic, bringing together multiple different religions, the study on the program, the concept and history. They result in a collection of religious spaces in one building. It's this fragmented character of the section that raises a lot of discussion with the jury. Would the ultimate architectural effort not be to design just one space for all of them? Or is that a naive thought? By the way, raising these kinds of discussions with the jury, I think, is always a very positive quality of a plan. The elaborate use of models, also in the design process, is greatly appreciated by all the judges. The open scale model shows an intricate 3D puzzle of spaces and stairs. Pietro Bartoli, distant relatives. A very well-ordered design, taking the housing of immigrants as an interesting and relevant subject. The clever combination of old and new structures is seen as a strong point of the design. The jury has some doubts about the use of towers. What will this do for the social cohesion within the plan? How do people interact with each other in these towers? The thoughts about public space, both inside and outside, are very appealing to the jury, though. Jolien Hermans, heightened delay. The jury is amazed by the brutalist conceptual approach. A daring effort, but what does it mean for everyday life, having a public domain cut into private spaces like this? They see the danger of an elevated, gated community, perhaps giving the ground level to the less fortunate people in society or in the city. It's the intriguing quality of this plan that triggers this discussion. Conceptually, it's very strong and certainly makes for an interesting addition to the city of Rotterdam, taking the yellow walkway by Zus quite literally to another level. Then David Villegas Rodriguez, restoring the flow. The jury referred to the small architectural interventions in this project as tiny jewels, expressing the appreciation of smallness in favor of the big gestures. It shows that the problem of Dutch water management in recent years has shifted from the huge scale of the sea, the delta works for instance, to the smaller or local scale of rain and drought. Graphically, everything is very toned down, but it certainly shows how concept, research, and design all become one, even resulting in some great floor plans. So, the overall impression that the jury had. The jury had to take quite some time selecting the eventual nominees from an extensive long list that they first made out. Quite a luxury problem. The plans are conceptually very strong and show great depth in their research. There was, however, also a sort of general point of criticism. Maybe something that, well, at least I as a teacher, and maybe we as a unit should also hold ourselves responsible for. The people that we build for seem to be absent in most of the things that we do. Why not think more about facilitating processes, about the social aspect of design, about involving real people? But now, for the moment that everyone's been waiting for, after a very interesting joint discussion, the jury nominated 4 very convincing plans for this year's Archiprix. In no particular order, I want to present them to you. The first one is Giorgia Castelli with a core for diversity. Well, I know you're not here, but congratulations to you. I'm going to give you a round of applause. I hope you're watching online and now cheering. And we'll send the flowers to you somehow. The second plan is by Nick van Garden, Beyond the River. So Nick is not here. Well done. Well, this speeds things up a little. Also for the remaining two. The third nominee is David Villegas Rodriguez with his plan Restoring the Flow. And then finally, we have Marco Cironi with the House of Rituals. And so he is not here. So with that, we have a lot of flowers left over. But I want to give a really big thanks to everyone involved in this exhibition. That also means you guys. You did an amazing job pulling it all together. And for me and for the rest of the jury as well, it was truly inspiring seeing all of those plans together like this. So big thank you from me and the rest of the jury.